tough man Canadian Patrick Graham, and Erik Morales, a 22-year-old super bantamweight champion, will be taking on a challenger Angel Chacon in a match as well this evening. And speaking of Morales and Angel Chacon, Morales at only 22 years of age. As we talked with him yesterday, I was asking Jim Lampley about him. I said he seems to be a very low-key guy, not a man of many words, but boy, is he lethal in the ring. And Jim says this kid was born to fight. He in no way is threatened by Chacon. He says he hopes and plans to make short work of him, not scared of his strength at all. And for more on that bout as we get set, let's take you back downstairs ringside to Jim Lampley.
All right, JB, and there's a look at Angel Chacon of Puerto Rico, the man who has a chance to put the first blemish on Erik Morales' so far super perfect career. Chacon won his first 23 fights to go to 23-0, and now has lost 2 of the past 3. He's a southpaw, and his hope in this fight will be to get in close to Erik Morales, pound his rib cage, and try to find a weakness which has not previously been exposed. Morales, in his past several fights, has been simply spectacular, including a 4th-round knockout of the highly regarded Junior Jones in his hometown of Tijuana in his last appearance in September. In fact, if you were to say to yourself, well, of the fighters on the card tonight, who besides De La Hoya and Cuarte ranks as a big star in the sport, this is the man. Unbeaten world champion at 122. More or less raised in the ring. His father was a boxer who is now his manager and trainer, and he has surpassed by far what his father had accomplished in the ring now. 31 wins, no losses, no draws, 25 KOs, perfect 5-0 with 5 knockouts in title fights. Erik Morales, and southpaws, he normally has no trouble. He first won the title with a brilliant performance against the southpaw craftsman Daniel Zaragoza. Tail of the tape now for Erik Terrible Morales against Angel Chacon. And you'll see that Morales is still only 22 years old already with 31 wins. And he weighed in a little under the limit. Got a 3-inch height advantage. Got a 6-inch reach advantage. Tonight, they both weigh about 8 or 9 pounds more than was the case at yesterday's weigh-in. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Erik Morales is a classic boxer puncher. You can see they throw the same number of punches generally. Morales, the more accurate of the two. Morales has a very good, crisp jab. Not the kind of fighter we typically expect from Mexico. He is a very, very well-schooled stand-up boxer puncher.
Rules, Harold?
The Erik Morales Angel Chacon fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. And Jim, we're back to 3-minute rounds.
Perfect. So let's go to Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, present 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the World Boxing Council. WBC President here at ringside tonight, Jose Suleiman. WBC Supervisor at ringside is John Coffey. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Chuck Giampa, Barbara Perez, and Dalby Shirley. And when your bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Richard Steele. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He came in at 122 pounds, wearing red, white, and blue. He comes to us from Vega Alta, Puerto Rico, and brings an outstanding record of 24 victories, 14 by knockout with only 2 losses. He is ranked number 10 in the world by the WBC. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the challenger, Angel Avispa Chacon. And his opponent across the ring, Fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trimmed with black, and weighing in at 121½ pounds. A perfect professional record, 31 victories without a loss, 25 by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, from Tijuana, Mexico, here is the undefeated WBC Super Bantamweight Champion of the World, El Terrible Erik Morales.
Chacon. Morales.
Míralo fijo en la cara. Míralo fijo. Míralo.
Okay, I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. I'm cautioning them again. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
Morales' next opponent has already been selected. He is Wayne McCullough, the Irishman you can recall seeing against Prince Ahmed. Morales is the kind of fighter you can make those plans for.
And he said to us yesterday, I'm here to do quick business. I will attempt to knock this guy out as rapidly as possible. Morales, on his record, is not a first-round knockout artist. He generally sizes his opponent up for the first couple of rounds and then attacks. Chacon has never been knocked down or out in his career, but that doesn't disturb Morales' confidence that he could be the one to get the job done. In the early going in Tijuana last September, it appeared that Junior Jones might be getting the best of it. But Morales was patient, waited for Jones to observe his own tendency to make mistakes, and as soon as Junior made one, Erik took immediate advantage.
Morales should try to establish his reach advantage, punch in with a good stiff left jab, keep this guy away from him. Then he controls the fight. Chacon should keep the fight closer. You don't want to be on the outside waiting to be hit. Get closer so you're in charge of how many punches are thrown.
Many conventional fighters are simply unable to make the jab effective against the southpaw. Morales wasn't bothered one bit against Zaragoza. His jab was a factor in the bout. He's the kind of guy who believes that he can go out and fight the same fight regardless of how you stand in front of him.
You see, Chacon gets in, lands all the punches he wants as long as the fight is going close range. But once you get on the outside, then it turns into another battle. Chacon's corner should advise him, admonish him, stay close. Don't stand away.
One thing Larry pointed out to us down in Tijuana, George, Erik Morales' balance. He's never out over his front foot. He's always evenly distributed between the 2 feet. A part of the natural gifts that come from more or less having been raised in the boxing ring.
Well, he's a good fighter, but he's always having to pick his left hand up to do something. This is why you can always stay close to him. The fighter has to go back and pick his left hand up. That gives you time to get closer. As soon as he lifts it, get your distance. There you go. He's lifting him up again.
There's a whole generation of fighters who watched Muhammad Ali and Thomas Hearns and Ray Leonard in the 80s and decided they didn't have to hold their left hands up high.
No, well, you can put them down to stay or keep them up to stay, but don't go lifting 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 up. It gives your opponent time to catch a rhythm, you see. Leave them where you want them.
Chacon has had the one good flurry inside. Morales landing to Chacon's face there and able to back the Puerto Rican fighter up. Right hand to the back of the neck by Chacon.
Yeah, if I was his corner, I'd tell him as soon as he turns around and lifts his left hand, get there before he lifts his left hand back up. That's what I would tell Chacon.
Well, let's see what they do tell him.
Morales is a little bit more aggressive than we're used to seeing him early in the fight. You can see as he leaps forward with a 1-2 to the left and follows with a long leaping left that missed. But he seems to have knockout on his mind, which is not his customary modus operandi.
Chacon already tasted that power, so he's a little reluctant. But I wouldn't be so reluctant that I would stay way back there like he's doing.
It was a relatively cautious first round on both sides. Morales only throwing 36 punches and Chacon throwing only 29. In this weight class, for one of the fighters to have thrown 65 punches is a pretty good output, but the two of them to combine for that total isn't much. Now Morales attacks as he senses a vulnerability in Chacon.
Chacon is even switching from side to side now.
Morales digging to the body and to the head. Uppercut landed. Another uppercut from the right side. You see the natural fluidity with which Morales throws power punches on the inside. And he lands a right and a left. And Chacon is in trouble against the ropes. Not moving, not grabbing. Morales landing when he wants to. And now Chacon holding on to Morales' right arm so Richard Steele breaks him up.
You know that a lot of fighters go through a whole career. Once they're pinned on the rope, they don't know what to do.
Left hook lands in there for Morales. He lands the right uppercut again.
See, it's evident that though Morales has got the advantage on the rope, because Chacon does not know how to get off the rope.
Chacon landed a counter right, and Morales came back with two vicious uppercuts, takes another right hand, seems unbothered, and continues the full-scale assault. And a right hand puts Chacon through the ropes. And that is the end of that. Angel Chacon had never before been knocked down or out. And at the end of a sustained, systematic assault along the ropes, the very professional Erik Morales finished him with one punch.
He's going to go down now as the talk of the finisher.
That was something.
I would think now, if I was in that weight class, I'd give him a few more years to celebrate before I fight him.
Well, there are two potentially fascinating fights on the horizon for Morales, Larry Merchant. One of them would be his countryman, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Who is here as a radio commentator, by the way.
And the other, of course, would be Prince Nassim Hamed,
who is 6,000 miles away, and if he saw this, would probably be 12,000 miles away if he had his chance.
I don't know now. The Prince can punch.
Well, wouldn't it be something to see?
Yep, I believe that.
Well, Morales...
You're not going to pin the Prince.
Morales is one of those... He reminds me of the old saying in golf that once you get a win under your belt, you start driving the ball 30 yards farther. And since that knockout of Jones, it's very clear that he has become a real professional, mature fighter who knows that he can be dominant. And we've talked sometime over the years who will be the next Mexican Julio Cesar Chavez, the next heroic figure to that boxing mad country in Mexico. This looks like the guy.
Take a look here, Larry.
It was that hard right hand after a bevy and flurry of other punches that finished the fight. Watch it right in here. Patient, patient, up and around.
Boy, he made him think he was going to his body, and he came right up with a straight right hand upward. Boom.
And just put him to sleep. I mean, just anesthetized him with that one punch.
He had him thinking he was going to the body again, and he did not. He tricked him. That's what he did.
Well, you can feint like that when you've got fast hands and perfect balance. And Morales had both throughout the fight. And once again, we emphasize the point. The tough young Puerto Rican Chacon had never been knocked down or out. But finishing was on the mind of Morales for the whole last minute as he assaulted Chacon along the ropes. Michael Buffer with the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Richard Steele waves off the count of 10 following the knockdown and calls a halt to this bout at 1 minute and 50 seconds of round number 2. The winner, who will now on May 8th be fighting former world champion Wayne McCullough here in Las Vegas. He is still the undefeated WBC Super Bantamweight Champion of the world, de Tijuana, Mexico, El Terrible.
You mostly as a boxer, puncher before, but it seemed you came out here tonight determined to score a quick knockout. Is that true?
Siempre te hemos considerado como un boxeador y esta noche viniste como un noqueador.
Bueno, sabíamos que estábamos presentes en una función grande, donde el público te ve en forma diferente a lo que he estado proyectándome en Tijuana, en plazas locales. Creo que pues traté de dar una demostración o mostrarme y lo hice.
I've been exhibiting myself all over the place, but this is really a big event, and I wanted to make sure that I made a statement, and I wanted to go for the knockout.
What is the statement you want to make in boxing? We commented at ringside that everybody has been looking for a successor as a hero in Mexico to Julio Cesar Chavez. Is that something you're trying to achieve, and do you think you can?
¿Cuál es lo que tú quieres hacer en el boxeo? Porque estamos diciendo que hoy en día hace falta un sucesor a Julio César Chávez de México. ¿Eso es lo que tú quisieras hacer hoy en día?
Bueno, yo quisiera estar en el gusto del público, tratar de hacer mi papel bien, tratar de pelear, ganar y sacar buenos resultados, que la gente le guste.
My ambition is to do well in the ring, to put up a good fight, win in a spectacular fashion, and make sure that people like the fight.
En lugar de Chávez va a ser con muchos años de trabajo como un sólido campeón.
And in order to equal Chavez's stature, you have to be there for a long time and have a lot of wins.
Well said. Congratulations again. And Jim?
22. He's 22. He's got 32 wins. And George, a well-thrown uppercut is always the thing of beauty. Here's another look.
Oh, yeah. But what was so fancy about it, this guy,